Hi, and welcome to the Sabbath Christian Church's online sermon. We have been doing the commandments. The second commandment says, "Thou shalt not make for yourself any graven image, idol, if that's in the likeness is what is in the heaven and the earth, or the water under the earth." We need to get into the technical aspect of worship and idol to understand thoroughly the meaning of the second commandment. Now, as I read it before, or misread it a little bit, the thing to understand is that an idol doesn't exist as an idol unless someone makes it an idol. As we've said before, it is something that someone chooses to be an idol, chooses to have rule over them. And then this is how they make themselves an idol to rule over them. Now, all the things that people make into idols are not idols in and as themselves. People make them idols and worship them as idols. Let's look at this thing somewhat technically and see what the commandment is talking about. Now, for an idol to bow down is from the Hebrew sacham, and it means to depress. Now, not depress in the sense that it's very sad, but to depress oneself, to prostrate oneself, put themselves low, lie down, prostrate themselves. It's used in royalty and God, but when it's used not for God, the bowing down has to do with obeisance and reverence, to stoop to worship an idol or a graven image. That's the big difference. It's not it's who the people are worshiping, or what. Mostly it's not a who, it's a what, although there are some who's. It also is translated from the Hebrew abed, to work and to serve. So it's not only bowing down, prostrating themselves, it's to serve. This is what happened to Israel in Egypt. They worked and served, not in a gracious, happy way, and they complained a lot about it. But they're worshiping and serving there in that sense, although they were enslaved. When a person works and slaves by choice, then it is abad, to serve an idol. It's a worshiper. It's to serve, to enslave themselves, to servitude and bondage to that object, out of the house of slavery, out of the house of bondage. In Exodus 7:16 it says, "You shall say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, sent me, saying, let my people go." This is what information was given to Egypt by Moses from God. And this is what he told him. And he says, "Behold, you have not listened until now." And we'll go through the Passover, and that happens then, at that point. And then he let the people go. That also means the feeling or expression of reverence and adoration for a deity, specifically for someone different than God. It could be an ancestor worship. It can be a lot of different kinds of worship, as we'll be observing here. It's a formal expression of reverence for a deity primarily. These definitions. It's a religious ceremony or ceremonies. Groups have religious ceremonies. They have the ceremony where people come and they have a ceremony. Easter was the latest one here. And the church is open for public worship. Come and worship with us. Many of the churches have these open doors for worshiping, but not for worshiping our Father in heaven. It's an adoration, a religious homage shown toward a personal principle. Our society's worship of teenagers. Now, it's not the worship in the same way as you worship an idol. That's the idea. It's the idea that people really point to everything to a worship of teenagers. It also is a honor with religious rites. The Maya tribe in South America built jungle pyramids to worship their gods. So they had an actual building and stuff to do that. Another example is that she adores her sons and they worship her. The same concept. And the religious ceremonies. Went to the cathedral because he chose to worship in a politically inspired building. In Buddhism, they take innumerable forms given the doctrine of skillful means. Guru, Yoga, Mandala, Thanks, Yoga, all of these disciplines. He says, don't lift up your eyes to heaven and see the sun and moon and stars and all the host of heaven and be drawn away from them. He says, and corrupt yourself with a graven image. He says, no specific images. No reality that they worship that's not God, that they believe in. The former Baal and Astarte were major worshippers of Isis and Osiris, the male and female figures, the oxen, the beast, the heifer, the goat, dog, cat, birds, hawks, crane, reptiles, dogs, frogs, all kinds of animals they worshipped here, one way or another. Osiris and Isis worshipped all over Egypt, not only in their particular provinces. They embraced Zubian superstition, the adoration of the Egyptians in common, that many other people extend to the whole host of starry nations. The main thing is they bow down, they lie down before, worship, bow down, head up and down, and doing all these things toward anyone, anything. But God demands that He be worshipped. He is the Creator. He is the one and only. And He abhors the worship of idols. Some even worship nations. And thank you for watching and listening. Amen.